became a greater priority. This resulted in young Galvez reassigning the New Providence expedition to Juan Manuel de Cahigal. Juan Manuel de Cahigal was the captain general and the governor of Havana. Like the King of Spain, Cahigal understood the importance of the Bahamas. He wrote Galvez a letter affirming that the capture of New Providence was an excellent point to observe British ships sailing from Charleston and New York that might try to attack Havana. After Cahigal's appointment, he began to strategize a plan for New Providence expedition. Alongside Cahigal was Commodore Alexander Gillian, a captain of the American fleet, South Carolina. Gillian had detailed knowledge of the Bahamas waters and the route through Northwest Providence Channel. So instead of the usual eastern route to New Providence through the Northeast Providence Channel, they took the Northwest Providence Channel. This permitted Cahigal and Gillian an opportunity to approach New Providence without the British garrison being forewarned of their arrival. On the 22nd of April, 1782, Cahigal and Gillian headed to sea with 59 vessels, 13 which were American vessels, including Gillian's vessel, the South Carolina. On the 5th of May, 1782, the convoy anchored off the harbor in proximity to Hog Island with 1,531 sailors and 2,000 soldiers. From the harbor, Cahigal communicated with Governor John Maxwell through correspondences. In Cahigal's initial communication with Maxwell, the Spanish commander warned the British that any resistance would expose New Providence and the residents to act of war. In fear that the Bahamas was not in the position to go to war, Governor Maxwell and his consuls surrendered. On the 8th of May, 1782, Governor Maxwell signed the 13 Articles of Capitulation, These articles presented the Spanish rules and regulations for the inhabitants of the Bahama Islands. Prior to leaving and heading back to Havana, Cahigal left 450 soldiers and sailors to protect the Bahama Islands in case the British retaliated. The Spanish set in place governors to control the affairs of New Providence. The first was Cahigal himself. After his departure, Antonio Clarico y Sanz took office in May 1782 through September 1782. Then there was a change in September of 1782 to Raimundo Andres. And in January of 1783, once again, Antonio Clarico returned as governor. The frequent rotation of governors indicated that the governors found it difficult governing New Providence. While the articles allowed the residents to continue to follow the English laws, customs, and traditions, the Spanish did more harm than good to the economy. The residents realized that there was a shift in economic prosperity of New Providence after the Spanish arrival. There was a change because the Spanish made it illegal for inhabitants to trade with the Spanish enemies, such as the British. Trading along with privateering was a lucrative business for Bahamian merchants. Those who were involved in privateering, Clarico sought revenge and stripped those privateers of their armor, deprived them of their properties, and even imprisoned some in Havana. For example, John Miller, a prominent merchant, had all his property seized and placed under house arrest. He also owned a privateer ship called the Unicorn. However, Governor Clarico was more focused on the financial safety of the Spanish crown possession and seeking a revenge on the Bahamian privateers that he forgot the defense of New Providence. As the American Revolutionary War came closer to an end, many of the British loyal soldiers found themselves leaving their homes and relocating to East Florida. Andrew DeVoe was one of those loyal subjects. In 1779, Andrew DeVoe joined forces with the British. He feverishly made a name for himself within the militia and later rose as colonel after the siege of Charleston. While in East Florida, St. Augustine, DeVoe heard about the troubles of the Bahamian refugees under the Spanish. He saw an opportunity to liberate the Bahama Islands from under the Spanish. On the 30th of March, 1783, DeVoe gathered about 70 men and sailed towards Harbor Island. When they landed, the inhabitants were overjoyed and willing to join the expedition with DeVoe to reclaim the islands. By then, DeVoe had about 200 men to face the Spanish garrison of 500. On the evening of 13th of April, 1783, they set sail to New Providence. DeVoe's plans were to be seen from a distance around the Spanish fortification, so they anchored at Salt Key. This confused Clarico because the Spanish mistook those vessels for smugglers. Nonetheless, DeVoe and his troops overran Fort Montague, causing Clarico and his troops to retreat inside Fort Nassau, where he surrendered the islands to DeVoe. In closing, the Spanish occupation of the Bahamas is far more complex than just the arrival and departure of the Spanish, but an event that contributed to the shaping of Bahamian history. Although the Spanish intent was not to organize a cohesive plan to enrich or maintain a strong Bahamas, the Spanish impacted the locals of the Bahamas in a very negative way. They dismantled the Bahamian government, they confiscated many merchants' property, and they ended privateering, the most lucrative business for locals at the time. The King of Spain knew that if the Bahama Islands were under the command, the British privateers located in the Bahamas would be controlled and the Spanish wealth would be protected. Overall, if the British had taken heed in securing the forts, the Bahama Islands would have never fell in the hands of the Spanish. The British did not understand the vulnerability of the Bahama Islands during the American Revolution. However, the Spanish understood. They knew that although the Bahamas was a small colony, the geographic location gave the controller leverage access to North America and the Caribbean from Europe. Thank you.